Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We are about to show you an add-on which will help you to go fully agile by only using Odoo. We hope you're gonna like it. So, my name is Igor Ivanovich. I'm one of the founders of Modoolar. I'm certified Odoo professional with more than 7 years of experience in development and running Odoo projects worldwide. Please meet my colleague Jasmina Nikolic. She's a senior agile organization developer. She's also a university lecturer as well as the member of the Serbian parliament. And we're happy to have her as the Scrummer product owner. A little bit about our company. We are a Serbian-based company. We are located in Belgrade. As we speak, we are taking our final steps to open our office in London, UK. We are a 20 people company, currently Odoo Silver partner. We have more than 50 successfully implemented projects worldwide. So besides providing professional Odoo services to end clients as well as other Odoo partners, our strategic shift is towards, our strategic shift is towards building an applications on top of Odoo platform, as well as opening agile training center for various businesses, not only for development teams. For that, we will use our own methodology and tools, hence the Scrummer is just a start. Okay, to put you in the right context, to see how we've got here, I will tell you a quick story. So the story is about Peter and John. I hope you guys see this. The light is a little bit problematic. So they're owners of the small IT company. One day they got a call from their friends asking them to deliver an e-commerce platform for his upcoming business venture. They made the deal. He sent them requirements via email, right? Pretty standard. And since they were good in what they're doing, they did it in no time. The client was happy, and he recommended Snack IT to some of his friends. Soon after, people started to call. The business was growing, but Peter and John didn't know how to control it. They realized they have problems in a poor scope definition, bad project management methodology. They got overwhelmed by work, and they got frustrated. And it was harder to keep the client's expectation, to meet actually the client expectations. Luckily, there was a solution for them. We all know that, right? So now Peter and John were happy again. The business was growing. There was more clients on board, as well as more people were on board. And even though they had Odoo installed and to help them run their daily activities, they still faced the new challenges, mainly because of increase of project complexity and number. Just to name few, they could not delegate work in multi-team environment. The complexity and unpredictability of the projects were increasing, and so on. So they needed help. They asked for help, but Odoo could not help them there. Then they realized, okay, let's see how we can improve our methodology. And somehow they heard about Agile, especially Scrum, which is nowadays a mainstream framework for running projects, right? So they decided to implement this in Odoo. They started by using many-to-many tags to assign tasks to teams. Then they used very same many-to-many tags to assign these tasks to sprints, which later turned out to be a bad idea, especially in reporting. Okay, they said, why don't we give a try and use Kanban for daily sprint, preparation, which turned out also as a bad idea later when they wanted to track the progress of their tasks. It seemed that this time Odoo could not help them. They were seeking for alternatives. They heard there is some other tool which might be able to help them to reorganize their work and to start working fully agile. They decided to give it a try, and that seemed to work. However, the users didn't like it. They needed to work in 2 systems. The costs were increasing because they need to pay for 2 licenses, for 2 systems actually, not to mention the complexity and knowledge needed to configure that other tool. And at the end of every month, they needed to export timesheet and to import it into Odoo in order to generate invoices. That was the work none of them wanted to do. Then some friend told them that there is a connector for that. Okay, so they tried to install it. And here you go, everything was working fine. They were happy until one day they got a call from their client who wanted to say thank you for reducing the invoice amount for their services. Okay, they were confused, only to realize that the last few months they've been generating invoices based on the wrong timesheets. For some reason, synchronization between Odoo and this other tool stopped working. Not to mention the mess that it produced in the data between Odoo and that other tool, and these guys could not say which version is more correct one. Luckily, this is where Scrummer gets into the picture. So I invite my colleague Yasmina to take over.
Okay. Well, thank you. So I guess that to some of you, some of these scenarios, at least parts of it, sounded familiar. And my role today is to show you how Scrummer can help solve some of it. And the plan for the future is to solve all of it. I know it sounds ambitious, but we'll try. So for the sake of this presentation, I'll be logging in as Amy, that works in a company called Heaven.com, that works on a team called Musicians Team. And the projects this company works on are like 7. So it's one team working on 7 projects. Are there project managers among you? Yeah, I thought so. So this team has a very hard task. It's a multitasking task. They have to work on several projects at the same time, practically every day. So what we did here with the projects is the Odoo view of the project, but then we added, and to the guys that use Scrum, it will sound familiar, we added user stories and epics. And to those who doesn't, is there anyone that doesn't know what Scrum is? I have to ask this. No, that's great. The team has its Scrum Master, and the Scrum Master is on this team Michael Jackson. It has 2-week sprints. It could have, as you probably know, less than 2 weeks or more than 2 weeks. The velocity, the actual velocity of this team is 60 story points. And these are the projects that the team is working on. And as I said already, it's 7 of them. These are the team members, and some of them will be probably leaving soon. I'll talk about that later on. As you can see in the right corner here, this team just started working on 1 active sprint. There's no drafted sprints. We're going to draft some afterwards, and no completed sprints yet. And there's a backlog. With this, I want to show you that it's really easy to access the Scrummer from the Odoo view of the team. I don't want to do that now. I'm going to go back to the dashboard and show you how the Scrummer works as an application. So once you enter the Scrummer, what you can see is a classical dashboard. This dashboard is going to be customizable soon. On the left side, you can see the 7 projects the team is working on. On the right side, you can see the tasks assigned to me and the recent activities box that actually picks up everything that comes within Odoo's task form view. Here are some symbols. I will explain later on. What is now important to me is to show that these numbers here show how big the project is in terms of story points. And here you can see how much of it I'm doing on all of these projects. So it's 40 compared to something I can't calculate now. this theme, and this is something we introduced because we consider it's very important, and this is what I found in practice, that there is a lot of companies that have just one theme and many projects, small companies, right? So what is really necessary to create is the team backlog for the planning purposes. I don't want to go there because that's the business logic, so I would just mention it as I did. But then we can talk about it later on. So the team backlog is actually hidden here in all tasks, and we will rename this to call it team backlog soon. What you can see here is the active sprint. So this team is working on one sprint. These are the tasks. And you can see that actually the sprint is bigger than the team velocity because it's 81. So it's debatable, like should it be like that? It's a clear indicator of the workload, that it should be less. And here's the backlog. The backlog is composed of all the items, of all the projects that the team is working on, meaning that there's some prioritization here. And this is on purpose like this, because when one team makes a planning for several projects, they need to know what is the highest priority on every project. Then again, I don't want to go into the business logic of this, just into the development logic, okay? What you can see here is a set of symbols, sort of symbols that mark the type, task type. It can be task, user story, epic, whatever you want, blocker, bug. Then the symbols that mark the priority, we integrated here the Moscow prioritization technique, but it can be any technique actually you use. Then what we have here on the left is to whom the task is assigned. It's typical, a small menu with a set of operations you can perform on a task directly from here. And the hierarchy, so what we keep here is the link between the parent and the subtask tasks, so it's easy accessible and you can see what a task or the user story is composed of. Now, if you wanna see a detailed view, there are a couple of ways you can do it. One of them is a short view. You can just click on a task, and on the left side you're gonna see the compact view with all the actionables. And I wanna bring your attention to the attachments, some links you can add, and also committed commits. So we have integrated this with the GitHub and Bitbucket, and we will continue integrating. This is falling. It's okay. Then if you want to change the view, make it thinner, you can do it by the scroll bar here. You can make it bigger. And if you want a full view, then you click on a link. Let's click here. And there's a full view. The main difference between the full view and the compact view is that here you can start the workload. So there are stages that you can activate and move the card through transitions from one stage to the other. Yeah. So let's go back now to the backlog. What I want to show you here, as we said, this team has one active sprint. Actually, it's easy to add sprints. That's what we wanted to make. And here on the left down, you have this button that you can add sprints. I will just do it for you right now. So the way is by making it is by dragging. Like you can drag it vertically and put the tasks in the sprints. And you can do it horizontally, like this. Why we made this? It's because, first of all, there are huge backlogs. And from my experience, I know that there are backlogs of 3,000 items. And it's very complicated once you have to find your item down the backlog, you know, to bring it up. So it's easy just to move it horizontally. So that's why we added the feature. And then it's really useful for the small screens. And here is the right moment to tell that this is also responsive. So we can, let me show you this. I hope this won't fall. Okay. So we have a user experience person that doesn't allow us to make any functionality or feature that can't be properly used on a mobile application. So this is how it looks on a mobile. So we take care of this. And then once we created the sprints, let's go into the active sprint and see how it looks like. So these are the columns. Right now, you can see here that we are at the Q8 board. So this is the board with the columns, QA board. What this means is that we decided to separate boards for the complex workflows. When you have the development board, it would be just the development board. And once the task gets into the QA, it would be the QA board. And further on, what we're going to do, we're going to integrate the business boards, because our conclusion is that the businesses need to split down their requirements in order to make it understandable for the development teams. So it's going to be all on the same board, but separate in several boards. And then we link the transitions here. What we did was just mapping the stages. We said that once the task is, just let me make, and by the way, I'll show you the functionality, the swim lanes. You can choose among not having swim lanes and having them. So this is the view without swim lanes. The task can be dragged into the stages that are allowed. So there are stages that can be forbidden as well. Forbidden or allowed depending on the workflow you have created or depending on the security status of the person using it. So it's both integrated. You can't move it into done, for example, if you didn't move it previously into in progress. Once in done, and it means for the development board, development done, it will appear not only in done here, but it will appear also in the QA board in to-do task, which is really useful because by this way you just take out of the game one of the main ways, which is the communication, that something has to be tested. So this is the clear sign for the testers that this is development done and can go into the development. Here as well, we have, of course, integrated this confirmation window that you have to explain if it's required. What did you do and why? It's customizable, so you can choose to do it or not. Let's go back to backlog. So imagine now that there is a problem situation that the team wants to create a new column because there is a lot of blockers on these projects, and they want to be able to see all the blockers visually separated from all other tasks because that's important. So we made it easy for the team members to create the column. I'll go back now to the Odoo. So there is this back to Odoo. Let's configure it. So we'll go to configuration. Let's open the workflows. There is this software development workflow. There can be more. It's up to you. Now here I'm going to add not only the column, first of all the stage, which is the blocked one. Here on the right side, my right side and yours as well, there's this initial state, meaning that if you check this one, it will mean that that's the beginning of the workflow. And the global state, this will mean that if you check this one, there's no need to create transitions manually. It will be just applied automatically. It means that it's from state to state, you can move it from wherever you want to wherever you want. Thank you. So blocked. Now I'm going to create states, transitions. So let's start with in the progress, because there you create the blocked stage. Let's call it blocked. No, let's call it block, because it has to be blocked. And then once it gets solved, we'll create this other stage, transition called unblock. Okay, cool. We don't want to go block unblock. And we're going to publish this. Once published, it will be very easy to create the board name. Sorry. We're going to go back to boards and create not only the board, but the stage as well, to map the stage. Add new item. It's hard to work with this inclination, I have to say. We're going to call it blocked. And add the stage that we're going to map. It's also blocked. Save and close. Here it is. Let's put it in between the in progress and done. And once we did this, we can go directly to the Scrummer and see our blocked column created for the team. Then imagine the next situation, which is that the team got overwhelmed and there is a need to create another team that has to make simultaneous planning with the first team on the very same projects. That's very often, very frequent. So we go back to Odoo. We create a new team. Let's call it Team Actors. Let's choose the Scrum Master. Which one do we want? So let's say Audrey Hepburn, and then the email could be Audrey working at the same company called heaven.com. And it's a 2-week sprint. The projects are the very same projects, because that's how the company organizes itself. I don't say it's wise. Okay, and let's pick up some team members. Could be Audrey and Gary Grant and Charlie. Yeah. No, James Joplin. No. Humphrey Bogart. Okay. And select. So let's go. This team doesn't have any sprints, any drafted sprints. Let's go back to Backlog and do some planning together with the previous team. I'm gonna log in now as Bogart. And this is the coolest feature ever I'm gonna show you, and I'm gonna finish there. This is Bogart. As you can see, there's a backlog. Let's create a sprint. Let's move an item there. Let's go to the backlog of a different... Sorry? What happened here? Ovdje? If I move this, I should be able to see a notification. It's okay. There's a notification. This is what I wanted to show you. Let's repeat it for those who didn't see it. So if I move an item in one team and they're doing the simultaneous planning, the notification will appear in the board of the second team doing at the same time the simultaneous planning. So this is also a way to avoid waste and unnecessary communication. I stop here because we don't have time, but I'm open to all the questions.
Okay, guys, it's really hard to work on this inclination, so sorry about that. Let me just quickly share with you our roadmap. I guess that's something you're interested in too. So what we plan, of course, is to work more on this. In general, our plan is that in this month, we apply this in our own company. We'll use it among multiple teams and multiple projects. And we hope we will hunt all the nasty bugs and then release it in the first week of October as a beta version. Then we hope you guys will help us join the project and maybe help us to deliver these items from the roadmap. Also, I don't have time to go through all this stuff. This will be online. We will also put online requests for comments so you can put up some of your ideas You can watch that on our website. So we plan to do user improvements. We plan to add ceremony management, release management, Scrum reporting. Currently, there is no reports inside. Culture backlog. A lot of cool features. But what is important, I would like to say that, is basically we decided to put this free as open source and open source. So people ask me like, okay, what's in that for you? So basically our idea here is that the framework for running the project in Scrum in Odoo will be free. So everyone will be able to use it. However, there are some features that we will probably release as our enterprise license, which will cover our know-how in implementing Scrum in the businesses. So basically all this stuff that we add in Scrummer will be open source and free, but the stuff that are based on our knowledge and experience, that's something we'll probably put in another module, and that's basically what's inside. Yeah,